Before your first tear ever touched your face, Allah already knew the pain your heart was carrying. Some tears never fall from the eyes, they fall silently inside the heart, where no one can see them, count them, or understand how heavy they truly are. My dear sister, maybe you smiled while your soul was tired. My dear sister, maybe you stayed quiet because explaining your pain became too exhausting. Maybe you prayed with a tired voice asking, why did this happen to me? But listen carefully, your pain was never invisible, your tears were never ignored, and your heartbreak was never meaningless. Before the world noticed your smile, Allah already knew your wound. Before anyone heard your story, He already knew every chapter you survived in silence. And sometimes the very pain you feared would destroy you becomes the path that brings you back to Him. Stronger, wiser, softer, and closer than before. One of the greatest lies pain tells you is that you've been forgotten. When people stop checking in, when your messages go unanswered, when kindness is repaid with silence, your heart begins to wonder if anyone truly sees what you're carrying. But this is where faith changes everything. Before a single tear rolled down your face, Allah already knew the pain hidden inside your heart. Before you whispered your prayer in the darkness of night, He heard every word your lips could barely speak. People may misunderstand your silence or never realize how much you've endured, but Allah never overlooks a single moment of your struggle. Every tear, every sleepless night, every silent heartbreak is known to Him with perfect knowledge and perfect mercy. Do not measure your worth by the attention of people. Measure it by the care of your Lord. Your tears are not weakness. They are moments that draw you closer to the one whose mercy never fails. Not every broken heart is a punishment. Sometimes it is Allah's way of rescuing you from a future that would have wounded you even more. We often pray for happiness, but Allah first prepares our hearts to receive it. And that preparation isn't always comfortable. It can come through disappointment, rejection, and the painful ending of relationships we thought would last forever. In those moments, it feels like everything is falling apart, but in reality, Allah may be removing the very things slowly pulling you away from Him. A heart that has never been tested often depends too much on people. A heart that has been broken learns to depend on Allah alone. And that is where real healing begins. Your pain teaches patience, your tears teach humility, and your loneliness becomes an invitation to draw nearer to your Lord. Sometimes Allah allows one chapter to close because He is writing a far more beautiful one. One of the hardest lessons to accept is that not everything you lose is truly a loss. Sometimes what feels like your greatest heartbreak is actually one of Allah's greatest mercies. We hold on to people, dreams, and plans because we believe they'll bring us happiness. Then suddenly something changes, someone leaves, a door closes, and our hearts ask why. But perhaps the better question is, what is He protecting me from that I cannot yet see? Allah knows every conversation that never happened, every disappointment waiting ahead, every danger your heart could never recognize on its own. What looks like the end of something beautiful may actually be the beginning of His protection. Many people spend years mourning what Allah removed, never realizing they were grieving something that would have slowly taken their peace. Some people arrive in your life to teach you patience, others to teach you self-respect, and some to remind you that your heart should never depend on anyone more than it depends on Allah. Just because something ended does not mean you were forgotten. Just because a prayer was answered differently does not mean it was ignored. One of the most painful feelings in life is believing that everyone else is moving forward while you stand still watching others build families, Achieve dreams and smile again while your own prayers seem unanswered. Slowly, a dangerous question grows. Has Allah forgotten me? But a delay is not a denial, and a closed door is not the end of your story. Sometimes Allah delays what you want because He loves you enough to give it to you at the right time, rather than the fastest time. Think of a seed buried beneath the earth. To someone who doesn't understand, it looks forgotten, sitting in darkness with no sign of growth. But beneath the surface, roots are spreading deeper before the tree is ever allowed to rise. If the tree grew before its roots strengthened, the first storm would destroy it. Your life often works the same way. While you feel nothing is changing, Allah may be strengthening your faith, increasing your patience, purifying your intentions, and softening your heart in ways comfort never could. Some blessings become trials if they arrive before we're spiritually ready to carry them. Imagine receiving everything you wanted before your heart learned gratitude. Allah knows exactly when you're prepared, and His timing is always wiser than our emotions. Real faith isn't only trusting Allah after receiving what we prayed for, it's continuing to trust Him while we're still waiting. One of the greatest battles you'll ever fight isn't against the world, it's against the fear that what is meant for you might end up belonging to someone else. That fear quietly steals your peace, making you overthink every delay and every closed door. But Islam teaches a truth that changes everything. What Allah has written for you can never be taken by another person, and what He has not written for you can never become yours, no matter how tightly you hold on. No human being has the power to steal the provision, love, or blessings Allah has already written in your name. A woman who truly trusts Allah still makes sincere effort and still hopes for beautiful things, but she no longer lets fear control her decisions. Sometimes letting go isn't losing. Sometimes it's trusting that Allah's plan is kinder than your attachment. Human beings disappoint because they are imperfect, but Allah never changes. His mercy never weakens, and His promises never fail. As long as your happiness depends on another person, your heart stays vulnerable, but when it becomes rooted in your relationship with Allah, no one can truly take it away. This doesn't mean pain disappears overnight. Even the prophets grieved. Islam doesn't ask us to become emotionless. It teaches us where to carry our emotions, not to people who inevitably disappoint us, but to the one who always listens. Every sincere prayer whispered in sadness is an act of worship, and nothing is ever wasted. There comes a moment in every believer's journey when she realizes Allah wasn't only changing her circumstances, He was changing her. At first, all you notice is the pain, the loneliness, the tears that seem endless, the nights too heavy to carry. But with time, the same pain that once made you feel weak slowly starts making you stronger. Not because pain itself has power, but because Allah uses every hardship to shape the heart of the believer. The woman who has never been tested depends on comfort. The woman who has been tested learns to depend on Allah. And there is no strength greater than a heart that has learned to rely on its Lord. Gold becomes pure through intense heat, and a diamond forms under pressure. Likewise, a believer's character is refined through patience and trust during difficulty. Islam doesn't encourage us to seek out pain, but it teaches us how to respond when it inevitably comes. Every challenge offers a choice. Let bitterness settle in, or let faith grow deeper. Many people only see the smile you wear today. They never saw the tears that built the strength behind it. Allah sees the hidden effort no one else can measure. Every temptation resisted, every harsh word met with patience, every act of forgiveness offered for His sake. Comfort teaches growth, but hardship often teaches reliance, and complete reliance on Allah is one of the greatest treasures a believer can hold. Your value has never depended on how easy your life looks. It comes from being sincerely devoted to your Lord. Real strength doesn't mean you never cry again. It means your tears no longer separate you from Allah. They bring you closer to Him instead. If you remember only one lesson from this reminder, let it be this: the chapter you're crying through today is not the final chapter Allah has written for you. Pain convinces us it will last forever, but the believer's hope is different. It isn't rooted in circumstances, people, or feelings, but in Allah alone. Even during the darkest nights, the heart continues whispering its trust in Him. Think about your own life. Surely there are things you once begged for that you're now grateful you never received. People you thought you couldn't live without, whose absence later protected you. Doors that closed only to reveal something better waiting behind them. If Allah has shown you His wisdom before, why would you believe He stopped being wise now? The same Lord who guided you yesterday is guiding you today. Healing doesn't always mean erasing painful memories. Sometimes healing means the memory remains, but the pain no longer controls you. It's when you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking what you're meant to learn from it. Sometimes mercy arrives disguised as disappointment, and sometimes guidance begins with a goodbye. Feeling sadness doesn't weaken faith. What matters is where that sadness leads your heart, toward Allah or away from Him. This worldly life is temporary, and so is every hardship within it. Every night gives way to dawn, and every test has a limit known only to Allah. This means your sadness is temporary, your waiting is temporary, and your loneliness is temporary. Even this chapter will one day become simply a memory. The real question isn't whether life will test you, because it will. The question is whether each test pulls you closer to Allah or further away. Choose closeness. Choose patience. Choose sincere prayer, forgiveness, and gratitude. Even when it feels difficult, not because life is easy, but because Allah is always worthy of your trust. On the days your heart feels heavy, remember this: if you are still breathing, His mercy still surrounds you. If you can still raise your hands in prayer, the door of hope remains open. If your heart still longs for Him, then He has not left you to yourself. That longing itself is a blessing. Trust His timing, trust His wisdom, and trust His mercy. And above all, trust His promise that He remains with those who stay patient and turn back to Him. My dear sister, if this reminder has touched your heart, carry this with you before you go. Your pain did not make you weak. Your tears did not make you forgotten. And your heartbreak did not mean Allah abandoned you. Sometimes He allows the heart to break so it can stop, depending on what was never meant to hold it. Every tear you cried in silence was seen. Every prayer you made with a tired soul was heard. Every disappointment, every delay, and every closed door carried a wisdom your heart may not understand today, but one day, by His mercy, you will look back and realize that none of it was wasted. Not the nights you cried, not the people you lost, not the patience you showed when no one knew how hard it was. Allah was shaping you, protecting you, strengthening you, and drawing you nearer to Him in ways you couldn't yet see. So keep trusting Him, keep praying, keep walking with faith, even when your heart feels tired, because the woman who places her pain in Allah's hands never loses herself. She rises. And one day, the very tears that once fell from pain may fall again. This time from gratitude.